We did it, boys! We completed the No Videos in April challenge! But now we can continue and get back to the games I think you should play. And this time we have a new acronym. Rest in peace to GTYP, that lasted all of one video. The new acronym that I'm 90% sure will not change is GYSP, Games You Should Play. I actually got this idea from Reddit user Nikiosko when he suggested I change the acronym to GYST, for Games You Should Try. But I felt since the T isn't in the original title at all, I'll just make it play and, now it's on brand. So, thanks for an actual idea. But today, I'm gonna be talking about another of my actual top 5 games of all time. One of my favorites to kick off the new month, Mount & Blade. I was gonna cover this back before Mount & Blade 2 came out, but things didn't work out like that. So all gameplay you'll be seeing will be from Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord, but they're still fundamentally the same game, so consider this a video for both of them. Now, I've been playing Mount & Blade since 2014, back in my baby days. And I've done multiple playthroughs of the game on and off since then, and I gotta say, I like it, love it even. I feel the best way to introduce the game is to paint an idea of what the game is, and the simplest way to describe it is that it's an open-world medieval sim. But once again, tags of a game don't make it special or even give you a good idea of what the game is. Mount & Blade is all the fun of the classic combat of Chivalry of Mordau, where you're just some medieval warrior fighting against an imposing army, and it's all the tactfulness and strategy of a Total War game where you're controlling massive amounts of troops in order to successfully win the battle. It's the scale of it all that impresses me about the game, and last time's Star Sector. But this one does a better job of visualizing it. You get to command armies of hundreds of men and put them in combat against other equally sized armies. But you're also able to take part in the battle as a soldier yourself, so you get to watch all of the action unfold right before your eyes. It magnificently jumps the scope from you, one soldier on the battlefield, to the entire army, to the entire kingdom seamlessly. When you start the game, you create a character. You pick a few options deciding your background, and these will influence your skills and starting equipment. Then you get to put a few points into stuff and refine your character more towards what you want. This is pretty standard for any RPG. From here, you pick where you want to spawn, and you're off. It's you against the world. Now you start recruiting your army, go around to villages and recruit peasants. They're not very good, but with enough training, they'll be your most vicious warriors on the battlefield. But how do you train them? Well, the best way to learn something is through experience and exposure. Trial by fire! So pit them against the savages of the world, culling the weak, and those that survive hopefully learn something. After a few battles, you can spend a bit of the money earned to upgrade them to a new, better unit. And if you were paying attention in the last sentence, I said a scary word. And that word is money. You're gonna need it for everything, and I mean everything. You want to recruit people, you want to buy equipment for yourself, you want to be able to pay wages so your army doesn't just leave, you're gonna need that dough to buy that dough. So, how do you make cold hard cash? Well, there's a few ways. You could do missions for the local lords and kings. It'll earn you not just cash, but reputation. And more on reputation in a bit. You could rob people for their hard-earned valuables and sell it for a considerable price. This is the one I usually go with, although people don't take too kindly to it for some reason. Or you could focus on the slave trade, that people are much more okay with, surprisingly. But from my experience, it comes from a lot of places, and you end up doing a bit of each of them. Now, jumping back to reputation, another great mechanic of the game is that it exists, and people have opinions about you. Being a better person typically makes people like you, and the other end of the spectrum is true as well. If you're a bad person, a lot of people become the angry emoji. But the biggest influencer is your interactions with the individuals themselves. Doing jobs for them, rescuing them from prison, or aiding them in a fight is a good way to make them like you. Kicking their ass, however, makes them just a tad upset. But why should you care what they think about you? Well, a lot of reasons actually. Getting a king to like you means he's more likely to support you and be your ally, and most importantly, not attack you. Getting lords to like you means they're more likely to support your cause, whatever that may be. They may be willing to join you and take all their property with them to your side, and that is an extremely useful way to advance your position in the game without costing you time and lives. Now, I mentioned property. In the game, multiple factions are constantly in and out of war with each other in a bid to rule the entire land. There are estates that factions and characters hold. In the game, you and other armies can capture these cities, castles, and villages, but besides just wanting to own something, there's a couple reasons to want to own property for yourself. The most basic being it's a place you can reside in while waiting for something. Or just when you want to feel safe from all the mean men outside. The other, vastly more important thing is money. The people you rule over owe you taxes, and it's one of the most profitable things in the game. So yeah, owning land is hype. And once you start owning a state, the entire game has a noticeable shift in feel, because before you owned anything, you were just a mercenary, probably just raiding caravans or fighting bandits. But now you're a lord, or lordess. I don't know what the female equivalent is, and I'm not gonna look it up. And now you're fighting other lords, and besieging castles, and defending your own. It becomes an entirely different game. And that's the main reason this game is hype as hell, and with Doom Eternal out, you know hell is hype. What I love in games is when the combat I participate in matters. When the context for my fighting makes me want to win besides just, you know, not dying. And in this game, each combat gives an opportunity to grow myself and my faction, as well as weaken others. I like that what I do has an impact on the world around it, something that I touched on briefly when discussing Star Sector last time, but this is one element that makes these kind of games my favorites. My point is, context matters, and this game lets you pick your own, so it never has to assume that you care about it when you might not. And that about covers what the game is. It's an extremely fun medieval sim that has a lot of content and mechanics to be explored. There's a lot of intricacies that I didn't talk about, so there's a lot for you, the viewer, to experience on your own. And one last thing. Just like last time, this game also excels in its modding aspect. However, Mount and Blade is a lot more popular than Star Sector, so naturally there's a lot more mods available. And many of them are complete overhauls that let you turn the game into whatever you want. There's mods that turn the game into an experience from your favorite franchises, such as Lord of the Rings or even Star Wars. Some let you play a campaign through many historical wars, and others turn the game into a high fantasy adventure. And I've played a lot of campaigns in this game, and most of them have been modded experiences because I love the content that they add. And I just want to say that my favorite mod so far has been Perisno. It turns the game into a fantasy setting, and I love all the additions. From new races to new mounts, and overall the flow of the campaign is just thoroughly enjoyable. So if you've never played it, I'd say give it a shot. And that's all I gotta say. Bannerlord has been a lot of fun, and I look forward to the updates and mods that will come out for it. Thanks for watching, subscribe if you want more of this, and I'll see y'all later.